crushed Portland, but it didn't come without a cost. Draymond Green continuing to struggle with the refs, getting a tech in the first game of the season after all that drama last year. Here's Warriors head coach Steve Kerr on the situation.
He was amazing tonight, and we say it all the time. You can't have it all. You can't ask Draymond to play with this amazing passion and energy and effort, and then tell him no, you have to tone down the emotion. It's all part of the package. So it's up to us to, whether it's taking a timeout or just trying to calm him down. But there's a reason Draymond is who he is. He's a champion. He's one of the best competitors I've ever been around, and there's going to be a lot of technicals. We just can't let him get two.
Stephen A., do the Warriors have a problem with Draymond?
You see, this is what bothers me. You understand what I'm saying? Because I got a lot of love and respect for Draymond, okay? And I hate using the word problem because people can take it and run with it and extend it beyond the basketball court, which he finds offensive and I find offensive for him. But on the basketball court, one of the brothers that I'm still tight with to this very day, Molly, Wendy, is a brother by the name of Rasheed Wallace. That's my dog. That's my brother. I love him to death. I've never seen anybody in my life that had more problems with referees than Rasheed Wallace. I mean, just looking at them, this man was ready to fight with them. It was unbelievable, okay? Draymond becoming pretty damn close. Because from December of 2023, from March of 2023 to December of 2023, I think he got suspended like 4 times, okay? It's game 1 of the season. You know you're going to beat Portland. Why? Why get a technical? Why?
Second quarter.
Why? For what? Why? There's nothing inside of you that says, we got this. We ain't worried about it. It's game 1. It's no big deal. There's nothing inside of you that says that. And so ultimately, I know the passion that he leans on. It's what makes him great. He is a future Hall of Famer. If you don't know, you better recognize he is.
Not a question.
He is a future Hall of Famer. The Warriors ain't the same without him. They're much, much better with him. He's an invaluable asset. He's all of those things. But he is also someone that makes some of the most senseless decisions when it comes to the official. And there's no way to ignore it. And last night, was indictable because they're gonna label you. You know how they are. You know at any given moment they can tee you up and what have you. And if you can't control yourself from getting technical in game 1 of the regular season against the Portland Trailblazers, who everybody and their grandmama knew you was gonna whip their ass, and you can't control yourself and avoid getting a technical, then I don't know what to say.
It wasn't just a technical. He was going to get ejected, and Steve Kerr had to call timeout so that he wouldn't get ejected. And that's the thing about it's the walking of the line. So, Stephen A., the Warriors, I don't want to overreact in October. The Warriors might have a little something going here. Now, I'm not saying they're going to be back playing in the finals, but they have got this 12 or 13-man rotation. Mm-hmm. Their vibes, by Draymond's own explanation, are spectacular. They have got a lot of different ways they can go. They're healthy. They got what I would assume is a very inspired Jonathan Kuminga to have a big year. They've, got Brandon Pajemski, who they are really high on. They've got some new guys. They may actually they were undefeated in the preseason, which I know doesn't matter, but then last night they looked really good. They may actually have a team that could surprise here. But the one thing that can derail it is if Draymond doesn't walk the line. And so this is the thing. Last year, Draymond cost this team the playoff because when he went out, they were a much worse team, and he was out for so long, and they couldn't recover from that. But they also need Draymond to help get the maximum out of this group. So this is what's very difficult. The difficult thing is they need him, but he's so volatile. And so he's got to walk that line. If he walks that line, the Warriors could end up being one of the feel-good stories of the season.
And what he has to understand, and he can get mad about this all he wants to. Listen, off the court, great man, great person, got a bright future in a lot of areas, okay? But you got to reel yourself in. And if you're not willing to do that for the first game of the regular season, when you going to do it? Okay? So that's just the facts. He can live with it, he can deal with it, or he can deny it, he can do what he wants to do. The facts are the facts, okay? And we have to remember, he's now been ejected 20 times over his career, including once in the postseason. And Golden State is 6-14 in those games where he was ejected. So let's remember that. Number two, you didn't think I was going to let you get away with just mentioning that thing about Steve Kerr and that 13-man rotation. You didn't think that, right? Ladies and gentlemen, let me shift gears away from Draymond Green. Look at Steve Kerr. Now, I understand it's just game one of the regular season. Did that man, Steve Kerr, the head coach of the Golden State Warriors, open the season talking about, I got 13 guys. I found it difficult not to play 13 guys. This is the man, is this the same man that told Jason Tatum, I don't know if I'm going to have any minutes for you in a 10-man rotation?
He played 11 guys in the first quarter last night.
Huh?
He played 11 guys.
11 guys in the first quarter. All right? And somehow, some way, you got a 10-man rotation. Can't mess with that. Can't touch that. But you can sit up there and play 11 guys in the first quarter. The same guy that couldn't do that. The same guy that I know he watched Jason Tatum put on the show in the season opener against the New York Knicks. That same man was the one that went on the record last night in game one and talked about a 13-man rotation. Is that the same guy?
This is your show and you're in control and we're out of time and you put me in a box. You put me in a box in the corner.
Wendy. He's still thinking about the Olympics. You know what's happening here. It's
you know it wasn't an Olympic game last night, right? You do know that.
Yeah, I do know that.
Okay, good.
I do know that.
Good.
I'm just talking about the rotation.
He hasn't moved on. He hasn't moved on from the Olympics.
Molly, before you go to break, you know how to do math. Could you explain? I understand this 40 minutes in Olympic competition instead of the 48 minutes in the regular season. Could you understand how some man, a coach, a four-time champion,
didn't have Chris Middleton in this game, but the Sixers didn't have Joel Embiid or Paul George, and Milwaukee took advantage because Giannis and Dame went to work, especially Dame time. A 30-piece. Giannis was just dominant. And look at the last 5 games versus the 76ers. All W's, baby. They are 13-3 overall versus Philly since the start of the 2020 calendar year. Time now to bring in CBS Sports NBA analyst and co-host of the Beyond the Arc podcast, John Gonzalez. And John, the Bucks ended up beating the Joel Embiid and Paul George Sixers convincingly. Even though Philly did battle for 4 quarters, how would you evaluate what you saw from the squad?
The Sixers is what we expected, right? I mean, with Joel Embiid and Paul George on the court, they have a chance to beat anybody in the Eastern Conference, so maybe anybody in the loaded Western Conference as well. Without Joel Embiid and Paul George on the court, it's a tall order, right? Because you're asking Tyrese Maxey to do a hell of a lot. He had to do a lot tonight. Wasn't enough, though. And then on the other side, as you mentioned, Giannis and Dame had it going last year. Not the greatest season for Dame Lillard last year by all accounts. Tonight, though, he looked much more comfortable. I think he was the player of the game. Those two guys had, without Chris Middleton, they looked like they were in a rhythm. And it's just, they have a lot more to offer when their 2 stars are on the floor. When the Sixers don't have their stars on the floor, then all of a sudden it's a one-man show and it's just not going to be enough.
Right, because Maxey, he was unloading the clip. Like he was trying to do everything. And to your point, it's just not going to be enough when you're playing guys like Dame and Giannis and they're locked in. Now, let's go back to Joel Embiid. Like, he played in the Olympics, lost a ton of weight, didn't suffer any setback from what we know. He's not going to play the first week of games and is going to need to be reevaluated. And I know you know this, John. The Sixers have a new plan for Embiid, but what do you think is going on here?
Yeah, that's a great question, Chris, because as you mentioned, we saw him play in the Olympics, right? He goes, plays in the Olympics, looks like he's fine, comes back, says he lost all this weight, should be good to go, right? Except for he hasn't even scrimmaged yet. Now, part of this could just be an abundance of caution from the Sixers, because Joel Embiid did say after the season ended last year in the first round out to the Knicks that he texted with Daryl Morey and said, we have to do whatever we have to do in order to keep me healthy for April. So maybe that's just this. But as everybody knows, Joel Embiid has an extensive injury history. So if people have in Philadelphia or elsewhere some worry or concern over this, there's a reason for that because of the history of Joel Embiid. So maybe it is just precautionary, and we'll see what happens there. It looks like PG is going to be close to returning sooner than later, and he was largely healthy last year. But Nick Nurse went through this a few years back when they won the championship in Toronto with Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard only played 60 games, and then he was fully healthy for the postseason. So that's best case scenario here for the Sixers. But in the past, Chris, best case scenario almost never happens for that organization.
It's really mind-boggling how they've come about with all these star players, right, who have gotten injured, and then they have this momentum, and then it's sucked out of them for whatever reason, right? So hopefully, especially for your sake, they're able to get it done this year, and they're able to make it to at least the conference finals and maybe even the NBA finals. Now, Phoenix Suns are trying.
The Golden State Warriors are preparing to kick off their season against the Portland Trail Blazers after a disappointing 2023-24 campaign. The team, which has a rich history of success, is seeking a new mindset, aware of the growing competition in the Western Conference, with teams like the Denver Nuggets and Phoenix Suns. Draymond Green, one of the team's leaders, spoke in an interview with SiriusXM NBA Radio about the increased intensity in training. He described the coaches as annoying, but in a good way, highlighting that this pressure is a sign of the team's hunger for victories, which is focused on getting back on top after an inconsistent season. Last season, the Warriors finished with a 44-38 record, but were eliminated early from the playoffs, which created a sense of urgency. Green praised the positive atmosphere in camp, where everyone is determined to overcome previous failures and prepare for the new journey. This mentality reflects a team willing to fight for more titles, especially with Stephen Curry still a central piece. Curry, who averages an impressive 24.6 points per game and shoots 42.7% from three in his career, keeps the hopes of winning more championship rings alive. In addition, the Warriors have strengthened their coaching staff with the hiring of Jerry Stackhouse as an assistant. Steve Kerr explained that Stackhouse, a former NBA player with a solid career and coaching experience, brings a strong presence and unique perspective. Stackhouse joins the team at a crucial time, helping to develop players and strengthen the team tactically. With the combination of veterans like Curry, Green, and Wiggins, in addition to the new energy brought by the coaching staff, the Warriors enter the new season with the clear goal of returning to being one of the dominant teams in the NBA. The focus on physical and mental preparation, combined with experience, could be the deciding factor in overcoming the challenges and seeking another title. Thanks for watching. Leave your comment below. Hugs and see you next time.